homesteading to prepping to common horse sense, we are College Hill Farm. Welcome back to College Hill Farm. Well, fall's here. You can see the breath coming off. It's good 45 degrees this morning, 44. I love this kind of weather. It's fat man weather, and I've been getting a lot done, but mainly it's been inside. So we're almost done with our bathroom remodel. But doing it has caused us to be behind on getting our videos done about the homestead. So please bear with us if we've only put out a few videos a week. Now, today I'm going to harvest our Mammoth Russian sunflowers. You can see one right here behind me. If you look right there, there's one. And I'm going to bend it down here so that you can see. I may have to cut it off to get it down. Before I do that, I want you to see this stalk. I'm gonna cut it down so you can see the stalk. The easiest way to cut them down is with a machete. Look at that stalk. Here's my hand, here's the stalk. Let me pull it back there, up here where you can see a little better. Look at that. I can't even reach my fingers all the way around it. That is a huge sunflower stalk. So these things are like bamboo when they grow. It'll be 15 foot tall and a huge sunflower. So let's get the sunflower cut off. Oh, pull it up here. And I've been kind of late getting these. Generally it just breaks right off. I've been late getting these. What do you see? Well, there's only a few seeds. Why is it that way? The birds have been helping me. Okay? So that don't bother me. Why do I plant sunflowers? Let's talk about that. I'm just going to throw this over here in my tractor bucket. Why do I plant sunflowers? Well, I plant sunflowers for pollinators, not necessarily for food. Okay? If it brings a hummingbird by, that suits me just fine. If it brings a butterfly by, suits me just fine. If it brings the bees, suits me even better. Okay? That's the whole purpose of planting sunflowers. Now, the upside to that is you get seeds, sunflower seeds. So let's pull off another one or two and see what we can come up with. This one's a little smaller, but there's a little more seeds. See, this is, that stuff rubs off, and I'll show you more when I go to harvest the seeds out of them. And there's quite a few more seeds in that. Now, what I'm actually after, it's okay if I get a few to roast, but for the most part, I'm after seed for next year. Okay, I love to plant sunflowers at the beginning and ending of my rows. That way it helps mark where the rows are, and it attracts pollinators to each row. So let's get down through here and get these sunflowers harvested and see what we come up with. Okay, here we are. Some of these had a few, some of them had quite a few left. So we'll go back, to the shop and I'll show you how to get the rest of these. But before I head back, I'm going to grab Crystal some tomatoes, because it's not frosted a big frost yet. We've had a couple scattered frosts, but I've still got ripe tomatoes. This is October the 7th or 8th, I'm not sure. I think it's the 8th. I've still got ripe tomatoes. Cherokee purple, still got a few. Now, the first time the newsman comes on and says we're going to have a big frost, I'll come out here and pick all the green tomatoes. They go in the freezer. They're excellent in the freezer. Okay, green tomatoes are excellent in the freezer. You can add 4 or 5 to a soup or a stew, and it spices it right up. It gives it just that tang. All right, I'm going to go out there and harvest some more, and then we'll meet back at the shop, and I'll show you how to get those sunflower seeds out. Okay, here's my tomato haul. That's pretty good. That wasn't all of them. I left plenty to ripen up for tomorrow and the next day. So let's get on back to the shop. Okay, here we are back at the shop. All I've got a plastic container. Okay, something that has a lid on it, because if you don't put a lid on them, the mice get at them. So a lot of times I leave these out in my shop over the winter. Last year I left them out in the shop and the mice got them pretty bad because I put them in an open container. So I'm going to put them in a closed container this time. Went over to the dollar store and paid $1 for a container. This one is just calls it a base A storage box, whatever the heck that means. Now, some people use gloves to do this. I harvested these in the wet of the morning, so these are kind of damp. So all you have to do is you can just take your finger and rub over where the seeds are, and they come out. See? Now, sometimes it's easier if you tear that sunflower. Sometimes I just tear it into pieces and work on a piece at a time, because it's just easier to see if you got them all. Now again, this sunflower was pretty well picked over by the birds. So there aren't a lot of sunflower seeds in here, which that's okay. I'm going to just toss these over to the side. I'll take them back and put them in a compost pile later. Let's see, there's a few right there left. A few right there. And that was pretty much all for this sunflower. Probably 60 or 70 seeds was all. But you just keep going. This one's got a few. It don't have that many either. This one will definitely be easier if I break it apart, because it's a little drier and harder because it was pointing face down. Because there's so few seeds, it's real easy just to do them this way. Some people use a screen to get the seeds out, but that's just not something that I've worried with over the years. I always just use my fingers. I harvest them when it's damp out in the dew, because that makes it easier on your hands. If they're really, really, really dry, you might want to use gloves to do this, but my old hands are rougher than all get out anyway. So just keep tearing and raking off the seeds that are there. They come right out. You know, I've waited long enough, probably waited too long. I've waited long enough till they're good and loose. Some of them have probably fell out. I'll probably have plenty of volunteer sunflowers come up where these were this spring. Okay, let's get some of these out. And this is what I'm after. Let's show you. This is a viable seed. It's big enough that it's got a kernel inside of it. You know, this head that I've got right here has all kinds of viable seeds. Now, some of the seeds weren't viable. And some of the others. See that? There's no kernel in that. That seed's not going to do a thing. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and get at the rest of these, and I'll show you the result when it's done. Okay, here's our result. Okay, if you look at that, oh, it's about that deep, and this is 9 by 12, I think, maybe 9 by 11. So maybe 7 by 11. Don't really look like 9. Anyhow, whatever size it is, there's probably a couple thousand seeds in here from sunflowers that the birds got most of. Again, I plant my sunflowers to attract birds who eat bugs in my garden, to attract bees that pollinate my plants. Okay, why do I do sunflowers? Well, sunflowers, these are Russian mammoths, and they grow 15 feet tall. So those big old yellow flowers are right up at the top, 15 feet up in the air, so that the bees can see them really good. And it draws them right to it. And while they're there, they see the other flowers in the garden, and they help me out with a lot of stuff. Now, some people will say, boy, you got a lot of black seeds. Are those black seeds ruined? No matter what sunflower you grow, sometimes the seeds turn black. And the reason they do that is because they have the highest oil and fat content. The higher the oil and fat content, the more likely they are to turn black. And it doesn't matter whether you grow Russian mammoths or any other sunflower, they do that. So it won't affect a thing. They'll germinate just fine and come back next year. As a matter of fact, when I used to grow these for squirrel food and for bird seed, they would go after the black ones first because they have the highest calorie content. They would go after these black ones before they would go after these color ones. Okay? So now, if you like this kind of stuff, this homesteading, do-it-yourself kind of thing, be certain to come on out to the channel and subscribe. We do this homesteading stuff every week, sometimes 1, sometimes 5 videos. Just depends on what's going on in the homestead that week. Now, if you hit the little bell when you come to the channel, it'll notify you when we upload a video. We upload every Sunday. Now, with that being said, it's time for me to get on to the next thing.